Hello friends, this video is sponsored by Performance Works International. More about them in a bit. You can also visit the link in the description below to reach out to them. The entire details are also present. Welcome to Akul Mac Live and I am Chandrakant. Today I want to discuss about something which is very common. There are people who says that, the idea is worth $1 billion. Everything in life, your success, your failure is dependent on the idea. And people say that if you don't get that idea, then it's bad luck for you. So today, in fact, I would like to contradict this belief about having an idea and what you do with that idea, basically, or is it important in life? So moving on, the whole point of becoming richer like a billionaire, the idea is very, very important. You should have the idea, but you will not be able to stick with that idea if you don't have the right attitude. And when we talk about the billionaires, they are falling into less than 1% category of our population today because they can live up to the idea that they have got. And that is why I thought I will summarize the experience from my intellect. I'm very small, but I can still summarize and I can offer to you. And by the way, friends, we are live right now across all social media. So you can engage with me. You can use the chat function from whichever social media you are watching this live stream. And I will engage with you. I will display your name and question live and address that. So the whole point is that if you have got an idea now, but what do you do with that idea? I think the first thing you have to do is change your attitude. As I said, you have to start thinking like a billionaire. But what is this attitude? And number one is this attitude is you have to be the best. You have to acquire that skill, whatever activity you're doing. If you are very good in one particular, you have a skill, you have to be the best. And if you're among say 100 people, your friends, and you are actually doing photography, you have to think like that. You have to think that you have to be the best photographer among my friends of 100 people. Similarly, whatever you are doing, you have to be the best. And that is the attitude. And that is what the billionaires also think. They have to have some skills in which they are the best. They have to always acquire more and more knowledge, more and more aptitude about that skill. And it is very important. All billionaires have this attitude to develop their skill, and they have to be the best in that area. So if you look at a billionaire, probably there are not more than 1,000 billionaires across 7.x billion people. It's even less than 1%. So if you look at all the billionaires, they are the best in that particular category of skill sets. And that is why if you want to become successful in life, and if you're thinking that you've got an idea and this idea is probably worth $1 million, $1 billion, but you have to answer the question. You have to ask yourself, are you having the skill to develop this idea into reality? And how deep is your skill? So that is the first thing that you have to think. You have to start thinking how to be the best in that area. The number two skill every billionaire, every successful business person must have is care. It's not about you actually. It's about the people who are actually working for you. So most of the companies actually take care, are the care managers. So if you are a CEO, your job in life is, somebody will ask you a question. Hey, what's your job in life as a CEO? And the usual answer you will get is, hey, I have to take care of my customers. But as a CEO, you never talk to them. So the reality of life is that if you're a CEO, your job is to take care of people who are working for you. And that is the number two attitude. All the successful business people have this attitude to take care of people of their company. And if they are not able to take care of their people, that company is not going to go anywhere. I mean, imagine a company which has a lot of people, lot of iteration. A lot of people are coming in, going out. Nobody is sticking around, and so on. The company basically survive if you have a long career with that company. So if you are a CEO of an organization, you have to think that what can I do to improve the working condition of my people. The objective is that since you're taking care of your people, your company is one of the best company to work for. There is a work culture, there is a work satisfaction, there is longevity of the career of the people who are working for you. Therefore, these people will actually work better. The output would be better. And that is why, people who are actually leading successful businesses always think that they have to take care of the people who are working for them. And all other answers are futile. If somebody says, hey, I have to take care of my product, I have to take care of the customer, those are secondary. The first responsibility of a successful business person is to take care of the people that are associated with this company. And then that brings me to the third point, which is empathy. It's a very confusing term. Everybody says, if you go to YouTube, everybody says you have to be empathy. You have to have, if you're a teacher, you have to have empathy towards student. If you are a CEO, you have to have empathy towards employees. So when you're taking care, unlike the previous point, when you're taking care of your employee, it will translate into empathy. It is a logical transition. But empathy is not equal to pity. So I think that is something that you have to be very, very aware of. When you talk about empathy, it is not equal to pity. So I'll give you a simple example. If you look at the generation today, you want to be empathetic to them and everybody. I mean, they are. We always call the young generation as the leaders of tomorrow. But the problem is that the young generation is hooked on to a lot of these new tech devices like mobile phone, and they're always hooked on to different games and stuff like that. But do you think this is a new feature? Like I said, that new generation is hooked on to mobile. Even the youngsters are hooked on to mobile. They're doing their online classes. But do you think this is a new feature? No. This has been there since the time the man has started doing business. There is an enzyme for happiness. There is an enzyme which is released and that makes you happy. That's called dopamine. And if that enzyme is released, you feel happy. This is how the human psychology works. And in order to release this enzyme, there are various methods of releasing. One is, because man being a social animal, you actually have your relationships going with your loved ones and friends and family. And that when you come in contact with socially with your friends, automatically this enzyme is released and you feel happy. But for some, they get into drinking, they get into narcotics, and that makes them happy. And so it is very well known that if you drink, it also releases dopamine and makes you happy. And the recent studies have shown that the use of mobile phone also release dopamine. So when the young people who are actually hooked on to mobile all the time, it is basically the feeling of happiness. If you see a person with a mobile phone, he is actually feeling very happy, satisfied that he is carrying a mobile phone in his hand, and he is always on top of things. And when you say that I'm always on top of things, it is about, hey, I'm able to respond to that person within hardly 10 seconds. If I receive a message, my attitude is I have to respond immediately. If I get an email, I have to respond immediately. So it's instant. Unlike the older generation, I'm not from the old generation, but the older generation before emails were there, or the SMSs were there, or the instant messengers were there, they had to send a message and they had to wait for 2 days to get a reply, or sometimes 1 week, sometimes a month. So they were not expecting an immediate response from the other person. But in today's era, everyone expect an instant message. There is no time for self-realization. It's instant, and that releases dopamine, makes you happy. The problem is that this kind of lifestyle is also coming into leadership, team leaders, CEOs, C-suite. And everyone is in the same frame of mind. If you're running a startup, you have this troubling sensation in your mind that because you want to be happy, that I want instant results. If I am actually running an organization, why I'm running an organization? Because I expect instant results, and I get rid of the person who cannot give me instant results. So this is a point which I'm making here, that you feel empathy towards your people for whom you're taking care, but then you're actually doing something totally different, because you are now justifying to yourself and to few in your company that you are getting rid of people who are not achieving. And if you look at achievements, every human being has a limit. Every human being comes with a different attitude, and every time the situation does not be conducive to you. So even though you are taking the right step, those right steps may not result into the right effect. So sometimes the successful people also may not achieve the targets, but then you as a C-suite in today's environment don't have patience, because you're used to that kind of work. You want instant gratification. And the culture of hire and fire starts creeping in. If you're not able to achieve results, you are fired from the organization. And if you're basically, if you do that, then obviously, where is the question of taking care of your people? You're definitely not taking care of your people, isn't it? So this is something which is we have to understand. When we start thinking about converting our ideas into $1 billion idea, we have to start thinking that the empathy is not equal to pity. That in spite of you failing, I have empathized and I have retained you in the job. This is not the right thinking. I'll tell you, this is exactly happening to the kids also nowadays. You see, what happens is, when the kids also, they get the certificate for participation. When we were actually studying, we used to only get three certificate: A, first, gold, silver, and bronze. Whatever we do, first, second, and third. There were no further position. If there are 40 students in the class, there was no consolation prizes. There was nothing like that. There was a first, second, and third positions in the class. But today, what is happening? You don't want, as a teacher, you don't want the students to feel bad. So there are certificates given to everyone. Hey, you participated in this quiz. So what if you did not win it? But since I'm giving you a certificate, that means I'm basically empathizing with you, so that you can come back tomorrow and do better. Now, two things will happen. If you're doing this, the first one feels miserable, because he actually stood first, but his certificate is now less valuable because everybody got a certificate. And the people who did not deserve to be the first, they also got certified. So they are thinking that, hey, I didn't deserve to get that certificate. So they are even feeling more miserable. So the empathy, understanding of empathy is totally misleading in today's environment, and therefore the people who are thinking like billionaires, they understand what is pity and what is empathy. So the point number 3 is that empathy is not equal to pity. And that brings me to my most important point about winning and losing. So, is it always important as a chief executive to win all the time? Are you there to always succeed in life? Or are you there to be part of a journey? So, people say that, hey, I expect results because I want to win. I want to make sure that every quarter the numbers are showing positive profits all the time. And that is what they actually do. Every quarter the numbers are published. It's a big news. So and so company did so well. They doubled their revenue because this company is headed by the CEO, and he took measures to ensure that we have exceeded the expectations. Number two is, if the expectations are not met, then you fire a couple of people. So that brings me to the care part, which I spoke earlier. Now, in order to reflect good quarterly numbers, you get rid of few people, and because you want to win. So what is happening to the psychology of the people who basically lost their job? They will not be able to provide provisions for their family. But more important, what happens to the people who are still in the job in your company? Because the company's culture is that it has to win all the time. You want to win all the time as C-suite, as a CEO of the company. The people who are surviving in that company, who survived the purge, they are also thinking, hey, I don't know how long I will last. So they get into a negative spiral. So even though you have a good positive attitude of winning is a very positive attitude, but it is counterproductive as compared to your second number, which is care, and the third number, which is empathy. So sometimes you have to understand what is winning very carefully. You have to apply this to your company. Now, if we are in business, everybody thinks that, hey, we are doing very good business, but business has been around even before the humans were born. Or let's say, to simplify, when humans were born, the business was also born. So it's not today, it's not the Apples, and it is Boeing, and all these large Reliance from India. The business has been around forever, and the rules of engagement have been around forever. So basically, if you look at a game, if you look at a game and compare a tournament with your company, there is always the outcome of the game will be either you win or lose, or sometimes it's a draw. So if the team wins, you win. If the team lose, you lose. And if you want to win all the time, every time you want to win, then obviously it cannot happen, because it depends on the type of game you are playing. There could be a game which will finish in 45 minutes. There could be a game like game of hockey, which will have two halves, and there will be a break, and after that the win and loss will be declared. Winning team and the losing team will be declared. But the business is not ending that day. If you start playing a game, it will not end by the end of that. If you lose, doesn't mean that your company will also wind up. So that is why you have to understand what is win and what is a losing side, and what is the infinite existence. So coming back to this point number 4, you have to understand, when you start thinking like a billionaire, the billionaires are not there for winning or losing. They're in the game for infinite existence. Because what happens, if you look at the war today, it's not some country has defeated another country. If you look at US, for example, what the Americans were doing in Vietnam, they were actually fighting for winning the battle. But On the other side, what the Vietnamese were doing, they were making the other opponent tired, because they knew that this is our land and we are going to live here. So I'm going to make you tired. And this is what exactly happened in Afghanistan. The Russians, they were actually fighting to win, whereas the Afghan militias, they were there, they were fighting to live. So it's a game of iteration. So if the billionaire understands this very well, he's not in the game for winning. But if you elongate the game to infinity, then obviously you don't consider any win today as a big deal, because you know that tomorrow you lose a few deals, and day after tomorrow you again win few deals. So as long as you're having a long-term plan as an organization, you will not be affected by win or losing any contract. So I think this is something which matters, and all billionaires, millionaires, successful business people think like this. So these are the 4 points which I thought I'll bring it to your notice, and make sure that you understand that the idea is definitely important, but if you don't have the aptitude or attitude to convert that idea into a $1 billion business, then this idea will be of no use. So I end my discussion, friends, here. And I like to say thanks to people who have sent messages, and also big thanks to Performance Works International for sponsoring this video. Their support help us make this knowledge-based video. So now I end by giving you a message from them.
This video is sponsored by Performance Works International.
Are you ready for the challenges facing the modern workplace? Recent events have taught us the importance of transformation. Businesses now face a perfect storm of challenges. No business is too big to fail, and many are too slow to succeed. Our workforce is changing fast. We're entering a new age of empowerment, and everyone can contribute. The Inner CEO reveals how we can all play a part in making leading at all levels a reality. Written by Jeremy Blaine, an expert on business transformation and growth, it provides a roadmap to help everyone unleash their inner CEO and contribute beyond their job role, whatever their level. Traditionally, strategy has been owned by the few. Now it's time for the many to contribute. Leadership must come from a broader base. Everyone has the potential to step up and make things happen. It's a new model of collective and collaborative leadership which unleashes the power of people, enabled by appropriate technology and a supportive management structure. The book provides a roadmap for a bold new age of empowerment. Supported by a range of resources, the book provides a toolkit to help anyone unleash their inner CEO. Organisation health, development and growth is owned at all levels. Are you ready to unleash the inner CEO?